here at the auto parts store. Can't get any service around here. What's
is there
going
something
on?
I can interest you in, sir? Yeah, you like our little display?
This is so awesome. I like this.
Yeah, this was an idea that we had when we had the shop. It was across the street. We just moved over to this location about 3 or 4 months ago, but we carried this on over because normally you have all these different chemicals and cleaners and things like that, like in a cabinet locked away. But these are all of the brands that we work with. So we got Black Magic, we got Permatex, we got Valvoline, we got Odyssey, O'Reilly's VP, Gum Out, Fast Orange, Rain-X, more Permatex.
Don't forget NOS.
Don't forget on your way out to grab a NOS.
Two bottles, two of the big ones.
Two of the big ones, fully sized up.
What's up, guys? Larry Chen here. Welcome to another episode of Hoonigan Autofocus. Today we are at Blackout Garage with my good buddy Chris Forsberg. Christopher. I was going to pull a Corey Hosford. I was going to say Horry Hosford. Corey Hosford.
Corey Hosford?
Yeah, I was going to pull a Corey Hosford and call you Christopher Forsberg.
Yeah. Whatever works for you.
What's going on here? I really like this new place you got.
Yeah, so we just got kind of situated. We really blew the place together because we had to get moved across the street, the shop set up, back to shooting, back to building cars, and we only had 3 months to do it before FD was supposed to start. So we just went 110%, getting all set up, getting all the racks up, getting all the product up, the wheels, tires, and everything else, because to me, the shop is more than just a place to get the work done. It's, our broadcast to the world of what we do and who we represent. And so what better place to do it than the place that we spend the most time at, which is the shop. The racetrack is one thing, but we put in thousands of hours at the shop to turn just a few minutes around the track.
All right, so we'll definitely get to the shop tour later, but I actually wanted to talk to you about your oldest build. I call it Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You have another name for it. Actually,
well,
I didn't make that name. I didn't make that name. Our really good friend Jared Deanda actually came up with that, right?
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, yeah.
It's like going to Disneyland, and it's like you're spinning out, you're getting dizzy, all of that, and it's a lot of fun.
It's like riding on the teacups.
Yeah, you get to do it with a bunch of your friends. Yeah. This build, I think, has inspired a lot of people to build party cars like this.
Yeah, this was because you always see like an ex-pro car out at doing demos or being a practice car, or a very mild build being like a demo car, practice car, whatever. Or copy cars, right? So you got like two cars that are similar builds, like my two Zs. But this car was specifically built to be a party car. So it was one of the first, can't claim the first, but it was one of the first purpose-built four-seater drift cars ever built. And this was like 2011. We built it in the 2010 off-season, debuted it in January, February at XDC. You were there. And,
I was there, and this is how long ago this was, okay? Is my first time, that first day, I'm gonna get all camera nerdy now.
That's fine, man.
It's the first time I ever tried out prime lenses.
I don't know what that means.
It's a fixed focal length.
I tried out Prime yesterday. My toothpaste is on the way.
So it means that it's a fixed focal length, and I actually have to physically move backwards and forwards to zoom in and out.
Wow.
Right.
That sounds nuts.
It was kind of an experimental event.
I definitely don't do that. That sounds too complicated.
It was experimental, and the feature I did on this when it was white was the first feature I ever shot with only prime lenses.
Wow, interesting. And like you said, when it was white, when this car was first built, my name for it was La Flama Blanca, the pool from Eastbound and Down, because it was all white, pearl white, and had chrome rims, and still have that sticker on. This sticker is 10 years old. It's been on there since day one. And it is now black, and it now has a livery and everything, but the name lives on, because underneath it all, she's still white.
All right, so let's go around this thing. So what did this actually start life as?
It was an Infiniti M35, and so that means it actually came with a VQ35. I got it from Nissan, and it was a car that was being built as another project that just kind of, got turned over and never got finished. So they gave me the chassis. It had no interior, no nothing. And what we wanted to do was immediately pull the motor out and put in one of our V8s, just like the Pro cars, because we were running the VK56 engines. And so the engine that originally went into this car was I'd have to really think about it, but I think it was the engine that came out of my 2009 championship, because we built an all new engine after that. And so we put the VK56 in. As you can see, it is super tight. We have less than a 1/4 inch of clearance on that side, on this side, up here, on the back side, and then to the subframe itself. Super tight, very difficult to work on if you ever had to do a head gasket. You literally have to pull the motor. So one of the reasons why we got away from these engines on the Pro cars too, because it was the same type of fit. It was just difficult to work on. Motor had to go out the bottom. You couldn't even pull it out the top. And so it just made it difficult to service. But this car, its reliability has proven, time and time again to be incredible. It is a little dirty under here because we just had up a Thunder Hill. We're doing like 130 mile an hour entries with it down into turn 1, and it was just absolutely insane. So this car is super fun to drive. It has the full BC Racing 3-way coilovers. It's got the Parts Shop Max suspension, just like the Pro cars, and actually has some prototype Nismo brakes that we're trying out for them with the slotted rotors. So they actually don't have the Brembo brakes anymore like you see on the old 350Zs, and so they're building these custom Nismo ones now to replace those. So we have a set of those on here. And the overall build of the thing is very simple. It's, an older design. Like I said, I built this car in 2010, 10 years ago.
You actually built a car that I wish existed. I wish Nissan built this car, and you went ahead and did it. This was never meant to be like a sedan motor. This is actually a truck motor out of the Nissan Titan.
This is from the Nissan Titan truck, yes. And so we modified it. This motor now, the original one, like I said, was from one of my old comp setups, and it was only making 400 wheel horsepower, not much at all. And now it's up to I want to get it back on the dyno because we made some changes, and we do most of our tuning at the track thanks to John Reed. He does all of his tuning from his house in the Northwest in his underwear, I'm sure, because he never has to leave the house. But that's always our joke, is that we're telling him to put his pants on and get back to work. So we did a new exhaust on it. So we now have the actual exhaust from the old Pro car too. So the full tri-wide big tube setup, and this thing picked up a ton of top end. So I'm thinking this thing's up to about 500 wheel now. I want to get on the dyno and feel it, but not that much when you really think about it, especially since the whole car, when it's fully loaded, is 4,000 pounds. So you get a couple big guys in the back of this car, and it is a handful.
You'll be glad to know pretty much the most, I think, drift laps that I've ever ridden in has been in this thing.
Yeah, guess what?
Grid
Same
life?
for me.
Right.
I have more laps in this car than any of my cars, hands down, guaranteed.
When I'm actually riding in the back, when people are following us, for example, at Grid Life, I remember very vividly one time Von Gittin Jr. was following us, and I actually had to pull my camera in because he was gonna take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because normally it's you're in the passenger seat, and you might get the corner of the car coming up by the window, but when you're in the back seat, you got the tire right out your window. So we tell everyone to get in the car, no arms outside of the car except for cameras from Larry, but nobody put their arms out because you're right in that pocket. And so it's a wild ride that nobody really gets to experience. I don't want to say nobody, but very, very few people get to experience backseat drift rides.
And that's kind of the thing with this build, because it's NA and it's only 500 horsepower, I say only.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough to get it done.
Foot to the floor, it seems like, the whole time.
It's matted. And when we're out at Road Atlanta doing Grid Life events, we're going down that front straight, fourth gear, chugging about 70 mile an hour Manjis, and it's just foot to the floor. I know there would probably be a couple guys that hate this comment, but it reminds me of driving a Corolla. When you're just it's all momentum. You can't slow this thing down and drive back through the corner like a Pro car. Like you have to keep the momentum up because at 4,000 pounds, 500 horsepower is not much. And so you're just, and you give the extra clutch kicks on the transitions, and you're, you know, and just like getting her going down the straight. And it is absolutely nuts to drive the thing to that limit all the time. Like there's no pedaling it around unless you're in like first or second gear. As soon as you get third, fourth, and even fifth, and we've hit sixth gear in this thing coming down the back straight, it is 100% momentum only.
This, the interior is honestly one of my favorite parts about this car.
Yeah.
Not only does it have a full cage, but as you could see,
Yeah.
it's 4 full racing seats with harnesses. And honestly, one of my favorite features that I first noticed on this car when I first featured it is you have a communication system.
That's right.
Because it's so loud in here, that's the only way you can really talk to each other.
Well, I mean, there aren't many times you'd be able to talk to each other in any car, but with this one, you know, going for the full party ride-along experience, you know, you see like, you know, it's just a pile of helmets in here. We hop in and we plug in like a trophy truck, and we can all talk. It's voice activated, no one's pushing buttons, and we can chat the whole time we're driving the car, which makes it super fun.
Me up! I got a race car at home! Me up, show me what's up!
And so the other cool things that we did on this car was like I retained a bunch of the factory interior components. So like the wood grain, rewrapped this is tan leather underneath here, or vinyl, you know. Right. Rewrapped that to be black, carboned out all the vents, you know, carboned out this, you know, climate control setup, put an old switch panel in there. So you can really date this car just by looking at the gauges and the switch panels. Yeah. So it's all the classic stuff. It's the autometer gauges, it's the painless, you know, big toggle switches. But it still works 110%.
Yeah, and why would you change it if it still works?
Yeah.
And actually, I remember when I first saw this cage, I was so blown away at how you guys did it. You guys have to remember, this is a 10-year-old build. Yeah. And to do this back then, like the fact that I mean, you have 4 people in here.
Yeah.
It's
like
so crazy.
here.
It's
like,
still safe.
Hop in the back, this is the best part. So, and like, look, I'm over 6 feet tall and plenty of room. Like, you know, we got these, you know, so you don't bang your knees or shins, but like, you know, I have plenty of room. I have more room than a freaking airplane. So
this is what blew my mind here. When I first saw this build, like the fact that it's all triangulated and everything, but it's still enough room for you to move around.
Plenty of headroom. Like I said, once again, like I'm a pretty tall dude, and I have all the headroom I need for a helmet. You know, room for my legs, and fully buckled in. I actually like cut the floor out and sunk the seats down as low as I could to get that extra headspace back. And then I have, you know, I put the triangulated bars in here so that you not only have, you know, the extra strength, but you have like, you know, a little grab handle so you can climb in and out a little more easily. And so there was no real design for a 4-seater drift car, so I really just overbuilt it. I didn't build the cage, actually. We did it over at Justin Pollock's shop back in the day. And Ryan Clemens also did most of the cage work, actually, if not all of it, at his shop. But we did a double halo setup. So the front is a halo, just like any other FD car or track car. And then the rear is a halo setup that runs around, ties in behind the seats, it triangulates out. And then we did huge, oversized strut tower boxes, since we knew it was going to see more load than a typical down bar in the event of a, you know, crash or flip or something. You know, we tied these bars up and into it, added some triangulated plates in here, and, you know, gusseted the top pieces to the roof, front and back. Just really overbuilt the cage. We did 1 3/4 tubing as well. Definitely larger than what were required in FD, and just wanted to make sure that it was 100% safe, since it was a car that had never been really built or designed before.
I mean, even the back passenger has a door bar, which is just so cool.
And we kept the factory, we left the factory doors alone, left the factory door bars in, because, you know, you typically need the door bars because you gut them out, you put carbon doors on or anything like that. And so these are still factory doors. I mean, in all honesty, like those would be fine in themselves. They're built to handle, you know, a crash on the street. Once again, wanted to be extra safe.
So here's the radio connections, and on top of that, you have a fire suppression system
Oh, yeah.
for the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah. So same thing, because when you're giving rides, you have people that, might not typically ride in a race car, and so they might not be able to get out quickly. So yeah, we of course put a full fire suppression system in the car with, nozzle in the engine bay, front seats, back seats, and by the fuel cell too. When it comes to safety, it's all about time, right? Like a fire suit doesn't save you from a fire, it just gives you more time. And like the same thing with like a suppression system. It's, it might not put the fire out, but it's gonna at least like douse it down and slow it down, right? Like it's difficult to put out an entire car fire with just a suppression. It's all just to kind of get the people out of the car. And so when you have 4 seats, it's a concern to make sure that you can get everybody out quickly, because typically at a racetrack, the safety crews are only really set up to rescue 1 or 2 people, right, at a time. And so you typically would need, or essentially would need, twice the crew per corner to run a car like this. So I really went, over the top with making sure we're nice and safe. The rear bars are nice and low, the front bars are nice and low, so it's easy to get in and out.
So how do you even get like aero bits and body parts for this?
Oh, everything's custom made. So the rear wing is the APR rear wing that we matched up a bunch of base plates and found one that fit pretty freaking well. I forget what he said it was from, maybe like an S2000 or something, but like this little corner round fitment is like super spot on. We actually had like a different like low mount wing on there for a minute. The front fenders are actually crown carbon crafting fenders that we run on the Zs, and these are for a G35. So it has a little more of a vertical line to it, whereas the Zs like really step out and down. So this fits the body line really well. And so this part didn't exactly fit. Like this body line lines up here, which is nice. But this, if I pulled this in, it just created a weird bow. So instead, I just, kind of went with it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, went with it, sunk the top, and we built this bottom out and put a little spacer in here to give it like a cool little vent
I like
look.
It.
So
I like that.
You wouldn't even know this isn't built for this car.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. So did you have to do anything different with the suspension to handle more load?
No, it's, other than like really tripling up the spring rates, this car runs 20 kg springs front and rear, which is almost double of what we would run in the pro cars. And so we have... I think on my Z I run 4 kg. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
It's like so soft.
Oh yeah, here we go. We got some luggage in here.
Whoa, where are you going?
Well, this is actually full of spare axles. So. But the cool part about this car, like, once again, this is one of those things where I'm like, I really want to take it apart and redo stuff. Like this is like, like an old design I did to cover up all the lines, because we're always supposed to have things bulkheaded and away from us. At first I was like, oh, cover the fittings, and never even had the thought to build a bulkhead, and actually do like a full aluminum setup behind the seats. That just didn't occur to me, 10 years ago. So I built this little cover for the fuel tank, and it works. It's, technically legal and everything else. And, but once again, like things that I would like to update and change and clean up, but the car is it's just there and it works, and you can't do everything. So the fun part about this car, like I was saying, we got the luggage bag full of spare parts. I'll take the extra wheels. We'll put 4 extra wheels, 1 in each seat. We'll put, like a bag or 2 in the back with spare parts, maybe a bin with it, maybe a fuel jug stuffed up in front of the fire suppression system. And then we'll ship this car just by itself. The thing is so big that we can fit all the spares, load it into a transporter, and just get it up and out, and shows up to Grid Life. We burn it around the track for the weekend, and then we ship it to the next event.
I just don't get why more people don't do this. I mean, like, we go to these events like Grid Life, and this is the only one that's giving rides 3 people at a time.
Yeah. I've literally only seen like 3 other 4-seater, like purpose-built 4-seater drift cars with the full cage and everything, not just bros in the back, out at those types of events. And it's incredible. We get so many more laps.
Besides Tanner Faust in his Passat.
Yeah, which was an ex-pro car that they modified out, so that was awesome. They turned that into the taxi. There was a Forester out at the Motovicity event that I saw last year. And there's, I think, a G35 or something up in like the Northwest. And those are like the only 3 I can really think of that are like purpose-built.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for showing us this. Let's check out the rest of your shop.
Yeah, let's take a quick lap. So yeah, here we got the Advantage 4-post lift, and this is one of my favorite pieces of equipment in the shop because it gets our cars, not only off the ground, get more floor space, but it's like a nice display. We got the 2J NASCAR over here. We got Turk's Ferrari car over here. Two of the most ridiculous engine swaps of all time, just sitting on a lift. And then like I get my 2 cars parked underneath and we get all this floor space back, which is amazing. And so moving on this way, this is like where we start to get some work done. We got another Advantage lift, and this is where we typically doing our main projects. We got our new setup I'm in love with. We got the lift in the corner at a 45. We have our display racks here with some extra parts, the extra engines. That rack is now empty. It used to be full of parts for this car, so that's like a beautiful sight in my mind.
Everything went from there
to here, and it's back on, and the car runs and drives, and it's great. And like Dylan and I have our toolboxes set up back here, and we have our little welding station over here with our Miller welders. We got the MIG and the TIG, and got a nice little setup. Got some extra lighting that we put over top, plug them in, and we got the little welding station right here. Nice little table setup. And then coming into the back, this is our Fab Room, which our old shop, this was basically the size of the shop. It was like a 50 by 50 space. And then now we have this extra spot, which we can actually put a whole car in here. When Dylan was doing the rest of the fab work on his car, we moved the welding or the fab table out, and we had the whole car in here. So he could just like, go from like, standard to the car, and just like, fitting and not like walking all the way around the shop, wasting a bunch of time. And so we have like, nice organizer racks, all of our materials up there. We just built this little sheet metal cart to hold all of that. Our tooling, saws, sanders, everything else. Like half the machines are mine, half of them are Dylan's. Dylan's back here on the lathe, turning something down, getting after it.
What are you doing? You working, bro?
He's trying to work. He's like, will you guys shut up? I'm trying to work.
Make noise. What?
Yeah, and our newest piece of equipment is the right CNC table, which I'm so freaking pumped on. We just got it fired up last night, and the guys came out, they set the whole thing up, leveled it out, and they gave me like a quick little tutorial on how to draw and how to design stuff. And literally my first drawing was for the back of a AEM dash mount, and I lined it up. It's got like a nice little radius on the top, radius of corners, fit it all out, and it's a perfect fit onto the back. And then I just tried to follow it up, and I made one for the Motec dash, and this thing just plops right on there. Perfect fit. And it's like, I'm so pumped to bring this kind of,
Plus you can make stuff like this.
And then, well, of course we could do like cool signs. And so like they were like, you got like a sign, right? Like, let's like fire off your logo real quick. So they whipped this out for me, like showed me how to turn a logo into stencil form. So dropping the extra legs in so that it holds all the, extra R's and B's and O's together. So they showed me how to do that. And we made a couple quick little plates, show me how to work the whole CAD setup. The first time I ever drew anything on CAD was yesterday. And this is my first, design and cut and print. It was a perfect fit. So options are endless at this point. So really looking forward to what we are going to be able to do in the future here at the shop. Moving back this way, we're still getting some organization back here. Like I said, easy there, easy. Like I said, we've only been here for a few months, so like we still have like a little Monica's closet thing going on. But extra body parts in there. Dylan's dad's got a bunch of dirt bikes. He's like shoving in there right now. We got our fast orange sink, keeping the little dirty sink around the corner. And then this is the room that I got set up for all of our extra parts, all of our inventory. So we have like our spare turbos, our spare filters, Mishimoto parts, spare BC coilovers, all of our spare clutches, some more fluids. And then like over here, just like a bunch of old school like race parts from cars over the years. These are like our old tubular manifolds from the VR. These are old VQ exhaust manifolds. We got PBM knuckles. We got, old catch tanks that we used to run. That you always want to keep around in case you're trying to test fit something. Let's see, we probably got like a cool story we can dig up from one of these parts.
You got Turk's old helmet here.
Yeah, that's the helmet that he crashed in, so it's retired.
It's no good.
Yeah.
No good.
That's a retired helmet right there.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry, Tark. Sorry, dog. Yeah, sorry.
Look at this. This is just
to
a normal person when they come in here and they're like, oh my God.
Right? I know. It's like, And I tell us, we're like, oh, like, yeah, of course, that's like our 2 spare sets of coilovers. And like, these are our spare turbos. But yeah, like 3076, 3071, 3071, like, you know, our spare wastegates. But also some of these are for builds. So like we have a couple builds that are in the works. Well, always have a build in the works, right? And so like these 2, these are the spare wastegates, not spare wastegates. These are a pair of 45 millimeter Gen 5 hypergates that same ones that I run on the Pro car. So a pair of these are for an upcoming build project, and these 2 turbos are for that same upcoming project, and these coilovers are for that. So right?
We got a theme going on here.
Yeah, we start like collecting the parts in, and then like, you know, instead of once again like putting them out in like a corner, I'd like put them out, display them, you know, and then like once we actually need them, then they go onto the car. So the and like this, like, so we're also starting to not only with the right CNC table, but we're starting to make some 3D parts with a machine shop down in San Diego. And so this is a adapter plate to a either 4-speed or sequential, you know, the regular American style 4-bolt pattern with a Tilton inner pattern for the throwout bearing. And then this goes to a Nissan automatic bell housing. So you can convert almost any Nissan to a 4-speed or sequential. So we just designed that and started making that. This is what I made for, I didn't draw this physical thing, but I measured out all the sizes and all the specs, all the offsets that we needed to get, and sent it down to our machine shop, and he turned that into this 3D image in like an hour. I don't know how he did it. He's like so good with that. So it was really cool to see that come together, and it's actually, that's the piece that's on my twin turbo car since I converted to 4-speed now. So designed it on that car, and so this was a mock-up intake manifold from AMS. It must have been one of their early prototypes because they had a big label on it that says "Do not run." I don't know if it's got a crack in it or something, or so yeah. This is what we used to mock up our setup before our actual intake manifold came. So you end up with like a lot of parts like that, like, you know, rems or, you know, defected parts or whatever. So we're doing a little bit of construction in here, but getting that going. We have, you know, a nice little common area. So, you know, a little chill spot. I got my desk here. We got, you know, a little conference room table back here, which is rad. So we can, you know, sit and chat and talk about our plans, different builds, have our partners come in, sit down, have meetings in here, which is nice because we can just, you know, close this door and then cut out all the shop noise and just sit in here and chat. So it's super nice and convenient, and like gives a real nice chill feel, so people don't think they're just like wandering around a dirty shop. So, but we try to not have it be too dirty, trying to always keep it clean. And this is our little, the clubhouse as we call it. So it's pretty chill. Just took an extra bench seat and a little V8 coffee table. And, you know, sometimes we're just sitting there and hang out and talk shit after the, you know, a long night. And, you know, we got K-Dog up here restocking the inventory. So like I said, once again, there's no reason to have all this stuff, you know, stuffed back in a corner. Like, I got these pallet racks, I got them painted so they're all nice and even matched, not just like Home Depot green and orange. And then we put all of our extra inventory up on display so that when we're doing our shoots, we can, you know, proudly display our partners' logos and not just have a bunch of banners like stuck all over the walls. It's the physical product that we use. It's not just, you know, just whipped together. So, and then we're a little packed in back here right now because since nothing has hit the road yet, we have a little extra stuff, but, you know, we got a little extra parking spot for Gold Leader here. We got a little extra parking spot for Dylan's next project. Yeah.
You get to park on the ground.
Yeah, he has to park up there.
Dylan
You can't even imagine how hard it is to launch and land that car up there every day. But we get it done.
It's like practicing parallel parking.
Yeah, he's getting really good at it though. And but yeah, so it's nice to have like our own you know, parking lot. Like I said, it's a little full because we got some projects and some guy parked his Supra over here too. So, but I mean, getting a lot in California is like really difficult. So it's cool to have like a little space, like our own little corner. You know, some of these trailers, like we got our buddy's RVs parking here because we got the room, we're helping him out, so letting him stash his thing here. And then my container, like this is like another little closet I have of you know, parts and extra things that we don't need to have either on display in the shop or just like kind of piles up and makes a mess. So I picked up this container, same thing, got it painted so it looks nice, and put it all in there to keep our shop a little more organized.
And this is the most important part of your shop, right?
Yeah,
you got the crazy
I got
cart
the crazy
section.
cars. Did you see our crazy cart invitational?
I was so jealous.
I
to
know.
see-
We should have called you and had you come down.
Oh my God. Like the wall taps and just the lines that you guys are doing. It was hilarious.
We even dug Tanner Faust out of retirement for that one.
Yeah. What the heck? I mean, wow. He stopped making films for whatever the day just to come hang out with you guys.
Well, yeah, fun fact, he lives like 4 minutes from here. So he's like right around the corner. So we're like, yo, we got a bunch of crazy carts and we're gonna have a good time. So you should come by. He's like, I'm on my way.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
That looked like a lot of fun. Definitely next time you guys do that, I gotta be here.
Yeah,
to check
I know.
that
I'm
out.
sorry. It was like such a last minute like idea and thought that we threw together that like we have had a couple people like, why'd you hit us up? Why didn't you tell us? We're like, sorry. Like they were just like, quick, call like 10 people and let's like have a fun little day. And like, yeah, a lot of people got real jealous real fast. So maybe we have to have a round 2. Ooh.
Well, thank you so much for showing us your shop. This place is so awesome. This
Thanks,
place is
man.
sick. This
I
really
love it.
is like a dream shop.
It is my dream shop. I can't even imagine what else I would want to have here to make it any better, any more would be too difficult to manage. Like this is like already hard enough to manage, but we got great guys here every day and we keep the place tidy. Try not to let it get out of hand and overwhelming with a bunch of random stuff. We got a lot of projects always, so you got to keep the space, keep it clean, and keep working.
Well, definitely looking forward to your next builds. I know you have some interesting things lined
Got
up.
some stuff coming.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And as always, thank you so much for letting me shoot your stuff.
Anytime, man. Anytime. See you later.
That's a wrap.